good to have you back. Today I've got some stuff that'll keep you on edge. Subscribe for more, and let's get started. My dog came back after 6 months missing. He won't go near our bedroom, and he sits like something is wrong with his spine.
This one was posted to r/nosleep 3 days ago under a throwaway account. It picked up serious traction and the title alone sets a tone. But it's the actual post where things start feeling very wrong. Here's how she tells it. Max is my German Shepherd. Had him since college. He's been with me through everything. Me, 28, female, and my husband bought a small house about 4 years ago. Fence backyard, quiet street. 6 months ago I let Max out one morning like always. Came back 20 minutes later and he was gone. No hole in the fence, gate still latched. I checked every camera on the block, nothing. Not a single frame. He vanished. I spent months looking. Flyers, shelters, every lost pet page online. Nothing. I grieved that dog like family. Then 3 nights ago at 2 a.m. I hear scratching at the front door. Weak, slow. I open it and it's Max. Skinny, collar gone, fur matted and filthy. I broke down on the porch. I held onto him and just cried. But something was wrong. He moves stiff, like every step hurts. When he sits, his back legs splay to one side in this unnatural way, like his spine got damaged. And he will not go near the bedroom. He plants his feet at the hallway and growls at the wall. I tried coaxing him past the door with treats. The second he crossed the threshold, he urinated in terror, locked eyes on the closet, and would not look away. The same closet my husband padlocked while Max was gone. He said it was for valuables. That last detail is what stopped people scrolling. Whatever broke that dog over 6 months out there didn't scare him half as much as what's behind that door. She's sleeping 10 feet from it every night. And this is only the beginning.
So Max is back. And over the next few days, OP starts picking up on things about her husband that she cannot explain away anymore. Not about the dog, about the man she has been sharing a bed with for years. It started with his face the morning he saw the dog. The first thing that threw me was my husband's reaction. When he saw Max in our kitchen that morning, he went white. Not relieved, not happy. He looked like someone who got caught. He stammered, "Oh wow, oh my God." Then overcorrected hard, scooping Max up, baby-talking him, acting like father of the year. Max pulled away from him. I noticed that. I took Max to the vet 2 days later. No spinal fracture, but severe muscle atrophy in his hind legs and joint damage in both hips. The vet got quiet and asked me straight up if Max had been kept in a cage or a confined space for a long time. She said the damage was consistent with an animal that could not fully stand up or turn around for months. Since coming back, Max paces the living room every night whimpering. If the bedroom door is open, he plants himself between me and the hallway like he is guarding me from something. My husband started coming home from work early, always finding a reason to be alone in the bedroom with the door shut. I tried the closet while he was in the shower, still locked. I asked about it casually, and he snapped at me. Really snapped. Then caught himself and apologized. Said work was stressful. I did not push it. Here's what I keep coming back to. He checks my phone. He has never liked me having close friends. He picked this house. He put that padlock on while Max was gone. I cannot sleep anymore. Max will not sleep either. He just sits in the hallway facing the bedroom door, watching. Now stop and think about what the vet just told her. That is not a dog who got lost and wandered the streets for half a year. That is an animal that was deliberately kept in a space too small to stand up in, for months. And the only locked door in OP's entire house is the closet in the bedroom where she sleeps every single night. She is not ready to say it out loud yet. You can tell she is still trying to rationalize. But the details she just laid out, the phone monitoring, the isolation, the way he picked this house, those are not small things. And what comes next proves it. So OP starts doing what anyone would do when nothing adds up. She starts testing him. I know how this sounds, but I had to know. Last Tuesday, I told him I was heading to work early, kissed him goodbye, pulled out of the driveway, parked 2 houses down. I sat in my car, watching through the living room window. Within 5 minutes, he was up and moving toward the bedroom. Fast, like he had been waiting. I couldn't see what he was doing, but he was in there for almost 20 minutes. So I started digging. I pulled our house blueprints from the county records office. Our home is listed as slab on grade, no basement, no crawl space. But the foundation depth is 4.2 feet. A standard slab is 4 to 6 inches. Why does our foundation go 4 feet deep? Then, 3 nights ago, I woke up at 2 a.m. and he wasn't next to me. The house was quiet except for this sound. Low, rhythmic, mechanical, coming from below. I found him in the kitchen saying he was getting water. He was breathing hard. Max was at the end of the hallway, rigid, hackles up, growling at the bedroom. I feel like I'm losing my mind. This is my husband. 6 years together. But the blueprints don't lie, and my dog won't stop growling at that room. Please tell me I'm not crazy. And the comments did not hold back. The way you described him sitting, legs splayed to one side, that's consistent with a dog confined in a space too small to sit normally for a long period. His muscles adapted. I'm a vet tech, and I've seen this in hoarding rescues. This made me sick because it confirms what I didn't want to believe. He used to sit perfectly straight, textbook German Shepherd posture. Now his back legs just fold to the side every time. Our vet said his joints were inflamed with muscle atrophy consistent with prolonged restricted movement. I thought maybe he'd been trapped somewhere in the woods, not under my own house. For valuables. Girl, what valuables does a person keep in a bedroom closet behind a lock their spouse doesn't have the key to? Please update us. The fact that your dog won't enter that room is telling you everything you need to know. Dogs don't forget places where they suffered. Please get someone to check that closet. OP came back with an update post. And this is where everything breaks open. I opened the closet while he was at work, and I can't stop shaking. I bought a nanny cam. One of those little ones that looks like a phone charger. I put it on the shelf in our bedroom, facing the closet, and waited for him to think I'd left for work. I parked down the street and opened the live feed on my phone. 20 minutes. That's all it took. He walked into the bedroom, unlocked the closet, moved something on the floor, and there was a hatch. A hatch in the floor of our closet. He opened it and climbed down, and he was gone for over 40 minutes. When he came back up, he was carrying a plastic bag. He took it straight out to the trash. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped my phone. I drove straight to my sister's house, and I called the police from her kitchen. I understand now why Max's legs are the way they are. He wasn't kept somewhere out in the world. He was kept in a space too small to stand or sit properly for months. He didn't escape from outside. He escaped from directly underneath me. I have been sleeping 10 feet above wherever my dog was imprisoned this entire time. The comments came in fast after that. I'm sorry, but the locked closet and the dog's behavior together is setting off every alarm in my head. Please don't confront your husband alone. I keep thinking about the 6 months in between. You were grieving your dog, putting up flyers, and your husband watched you do all of that, knowing exactly where he was. That's a level of cruelty I can't wrap my head around. That's the part that's going to haunt me. He helped her look. He drove around the neighborhood with her. He held her when she cried about it. The whole time, the dog was 10 feet below where they slept. That's not just cruelty, that's someone who enjoys watching pain they caused. And then there was the one question nobody could stop thinking about. OP never answered it. She didn't have to. Everyone already knew what it meant. About 24 hours later, OP came back one final time with an update post. I opened the closet while he was at work, and I can't stop shaking. This will be my last post. Police executed a search warrant yesterday morning. My husband was arrested at his workplace. The hatch in our closet led to a space underneath the house. It was not part of the original build. Someone constructed it deliberately. Reinforced walls, a lock that only works from the outside. The officers who went down there came back up looking different. I do not know how else to describe it. They would not tell me what they found, but they asked me to stay and answer a lot of questions I was not expecting. Questions about my husband's schedule, about people he knew, about whether I had ever heard anything at night. I still do not know everything that was in that space, and honestly, I am not sure I want to. What I know is this: I am safe. Max is with me at my sister's house. He sleeps at the foot of my bed now, and for the first time in weeks, he is not pacing or whimpering through the night. I will not be posting again after this. I want to thank every single person who told me to trust my dog. You might have saved my life. Please take care of yourselves. The thread went quiet after that. No arguing, no theories, just people sitting with it. This is the most unsettling thing I've read on here in a long time. The dog came back to you. He got out of wherever he was and came straight to your porch. He was trying to tell you something. Her account was deleted within 48 hours. Mods archived the post before it disappeared. And here's what stays with me about this one. The scariest part of this story was never what was under that house. It is that she slept next to this person every single night and had no idea. The only one who tried to warn her was the one creature in that house who could not speak. A dog with damaged legs sitting broken in a hallway, refusing to go near that room. That was the loudest scream in the entire story. Alright, next story is just as unsettling, so let's get into it. Everyone in my town started calling me by a name I've never used, and nobody will tell me why. Posted by Static in the Hall, 3 days ago. This one messed me up. OP is a 26-year-old woman, born and raised in a small town in Oregon. Population barely 4 digits. The kind of place where everyone knows your name. Or, at least, they should. She sets the scene on what she thinks is just a normal Tuesday morning. I, 26 female, have lived in the same small town in Oregon my entire life. Same house until I was 18. Same 10-minute drive to work. Same faces at the gas station. Everyone here knows everyone. That is just how it is. So Tuesday morning, I come downstairs and my mom is making coffee like she always does. She looks up and says, "Morning, Elise." I kind of laughed. I said, "Mom, my name is Marin." She went pale, like actually pale. She set her coffee down and her hands were shaking. Then she whispered, "We agreed you wouldn't use that name anymore." I have never heard the name Elise in my life. Not once. Not from her, not from anyone. I asked if she was joking, and she wouldn't look at me. Just changed the subject. I drove to work, telling myself it was a weird senior moment or something. Then my coworker said, "Good morning, Elise." Then the girl at the gas station called me Elise. Then my neighbor waved and said, "Hey, Elise, how's your mom doing?" Every single person in this town is calling me Elise. When I correct them, some of them look genuinely confused, like I am the one being weird. Others give me this look I cannot quite describe yet, like pity, like they feel sorry for me. I need someone outside this town to tell me I am not losing my mind. My name is Marin. It has always been Marin. And that is where she leaves it. No explanation, no theory, just a woman whose entire town decided overnight that her name is something else, and nobody will tell her why. So OP does what any rational person would do when reality starts splitting in half. She goes to the paper trail. And here's the thing. The paper trail backs her up completely. I went through everything. My driver's license, Marin. Birth certificate, Marin. I pulled every yearbook from elementary through senior year out of my closet and checked each one. Marin, Marin, Marin. My Facebook says Marin. My lease says Marin. My tax returns say Marin. Every single document that has ever defined who I am agrees with me. Not one says Elise. So I drove to my mom's house and sat her down and said, "I need you to explain what is going on." She looked at me like I had shattered something fragile she had been holding together for years. She started crying and said, "Honey, we already talked about this with Dr. Adler." I have never seen a therapist named Dr. Adler. I called the office. The receptionist picked up and said, "Oh, Elise, we haven't seen you since you were a child." I hung up and called Kayla. She is my best friend. We have been inseparable since kindergarten. If anyone was going to be honest with me, it was going to be her. I told her all of it, and she just went silent. Then she started crying and said, "Please don't do this again." Again. That word hit me like a truck. This has happened before. Whatever this is, everyone in my life has been maintaining it, and my questions are threatening something they all agreed to protect. Mom works a double shift tomorrow. I am going through every room in that house. That single word, again, rewrites the entire situation. OP is not discovering a glitch. She is relapsing into a question she has apparently asked before. And the last time she asked it, something happened that scared every person around her into silence. So now the documents say Marin. The people say Elise. A therapist she has never met has a file with her childhood in it, and her best friend is crying and begging her to stop pulling at a thread that the entire town stitched shut a long time ago. Tomorrow, she searches her mother's house, and whatever is in there has been hidden for a reason. So she waits for her mom to leave for work, and then she tears the house apart. I started in Mom's bedroom closet, found her baby book for me on the top shelf behind the winter blankets, opened to the first page, and my stomach dropped. The name line says Elise in my mother's handwriting, but it's been scribbled out, hard, angry, and Marin is written over it. I kept going. Found the photo albums from when I was little, the sticky page ones. Pages 3, 7, 11, and 15 are missing pictures. You can still see the indent marks where they used to sit. Someone removed them carefully, but not carefully enough. Then I went to the attic. There's a wooden box shoved behind old curtain rods that I have never seen before, locked, no key anywhere near it. Meanwhile, this town is closing ranks on me. My boss pulled me aside yesterday and told me, gently but firmly, that this Marin thing is upsetting people and I need to stop. A woman I barely know grabbed my wrist at the grocery store and said, "Your mother has been through enough, Elise." I don't even know her name. I'm not scared someone is going to hurt me. I'm scared of the size of whatever this is. Tonight, I found a small brass key taped under my mother's jewelry box. I think it fits the attic box. The comments were all circling the same dark theory. OP, please check your birth certificate, like your actual legal documents. If your name has always been Marin on paper, then something is seriously wrong with everyone around you. I did. That's what's scaring me the most. My driver's license says Marin. My social security card says Marin. But when I pulled my actual birth certificate from the filing cabinet in my mom's office, it says Elise. I've had that license renewed twice, and never once did anyone at the DMV question it. I don't understand how that's possible. This is the most unsettling thing I've read on here in months. The fact that your own mother looked at you with pity when you said your real name. I physically recoiled. Please update us. I have a really bad feeling about the pity in your mom's eyes. People look at you like that when they know something you don't, and they feel guilty about it. 2 days of silence. Then OP came back with an update post, and you could feel it in every sentence. Something had broken open. I found the grave, and I don't think I'm going back home. I opened the box. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped what was inside. A birth certificate for a girl named Elise, born on my exact birthday, same year, but a different hospital, a different county, and a mother's name I have never seen before in my life. Underneath was a photograph. 2 toddlers, identical, sitting side by side on a porch. I flipped it over. In my mom's handwriting it said, "Elise and Marin, last day together." I sat on the attic floor for I don't know how long. Then I brought everything downstairs, put it on the kitchen table, and waited. She saw the box and collapsed. Not angry, not defensive. She crumbled. She told me everything. I am Elise. Marin was my twin sister, my identical twin. She died when we were 3. An accident. Mom could barely get the word out. After it happened, I started calling myself Marin, talking about myself as Marin. And nobody stopped me because having Marin still alive, even just in name, was the only thing holding the family together. The whole town knew. They all agreed to go along with it. 23 years, every single person in my life has been calling me by my dead sister's name because a 3-year-old couldn't process grief and the adults decided to let it become real. And now they decided it was time to stop. The comments on this one went somewhere deeper than usual. The whole town? Every single person? That's not a coincidence. That's coordinated. Someone decided it was time and told everyone. That's what I'm saying. In towns like this, there's usually one person, a matriarch, a pastor, someone like that, who sets the tone. If that person says, "We're calling her Elise now," nobody pushes back. They just do it. It's not even malicious, it's just how those communities operate, and that almost makes it worse. I grew up in a small town too, and this tracks more than people think. Everybody knows everybody's business, and if the older generation decides something, it just becomes the truth. 6 days went by with nothing. Then OP came back one last time. I found the grave, and I don't think I'm going back home. I drove to the county listed on that birth certificate. Took about 4 hours through roads I'd never been on. Found a small cemetery outside a town I've never visited, never even heard of before all this. There was a marker near the back row, set into the ground. It just said Marin, her birth date and the date she died. Same birthday as mine, 3 years old. I touched the stone. It was warm from the sun. I sat in front of it for probably an hour. I kept waiting to feel something that made sense. It wasn't anger. It wasn't sadness, not exactly. It was more like vertigo, like standing right at the edge of yourself and realizing the drop goes further down than you ever thought it could. I haven't gone home. I'm in a motel off the highway 2 counties over. I don't know if I'm Elise who got called Marin, or if 23 years of answering to Marin made me someone else entirely, or if the real version of me is somewhere in between those 2 people. I keep introducing myself to strangers at gas stations and diners just to hear myself say a name out loud. I don't know which one to use. The account went dark after that post. She never came back, never answered a single reply. The story was never confirmed, never debunked. It just sat there on no sleep collecting weight. And honestly, what stays with me isn't the conspiracy or the locked box or even the birth certificate. It's the simplest part of all of it, your name. That is the most basic thing you carry through the world, the thing you say when you meet someone, the thing people call out to get your attention. And for OP, even that turned out to be something someone else placed on her. A memorial she wore for 23 years without ever knowing what it meant. Nobody asked her. Nobody gave her the choice. They just decided, and she lived inside it. One comment under the post summed up the whole thing. We agreed you wouldn't use that name anymore. Who agreed? You were never part of that agreement. This is genuinely terrifying. All right, on to the next one. My brother, 19 male, sent me a weird text at 3 a.m. and now he's not answering. I just called 911 from 400 miles away. This one sat with me for a while. Posted 2 days ago on r/offmychest by a user called Nowhere Near Him. She's 22-year-old female, junior at a university about 400 miles from her hometown. Her younger brother, 19 male, still lives at the family home. Their mom passed when they were little, and from the way she writes about him, you can tell she raised that kid. They text every single day. He's her person. So when her phone buzzes at 3:07 on a Tuesday morning, she already knows something is wrong. I read his text and nothing about it made sense. The words were misspelled, but not like typos, like someone trying to write while half underwater. Sentences would start and just trail off into nothing. One line literally just said, "I'm sorry about the red door. We don't have a red door. I don't know what that means." I texted him back immediately. "Hey, are you okay? Call me right now." Nothing. I called him, straight to voicemail. Called again, voicemail. I sat there for maybe 10 seconds, but it felt like a full minute, and then I Googled the non-emergency number for his county, and then I stopped and called 911 instead. The dispatcher was calm, asked me for the address, said she was sending a unit. Then she asked me to describe the layout of the house. Where is his bedroom? Which floor? Which door? And I started answering on autopilot. You go up the stairs and turn left, second door on the right, there's a bathroom across the hall, and then right in the middle of talking, I just stopped. Because I realized what I was doing. I was giving directions to strangers so they could find my brother's body. I couldn't get air. The dispatcher said, "Ma'am?" And I couldn't answer her either. That is where she ends it, mid-silence. Phone still pressed to her ear, 400 miles away in the dark. She doesn't hang up. She stays on that line, phone pressed to her ear in the dark, sitting on the edge of her dorm bed. And what follows is one of the most visceral stretches of real-time narration I've come across on this site. The way she writes this next section, you can tell she was replaying every single second as she typed it. I could hear radio chatter bleeding through the dispatcher's line, bits and pieces of voices I didn't recognize talking about my house. My house. The one I grew up in. Then I heard knocking, loud, official knocking. And when nobody answered, I heard the door go. I don't know if they kicked it or used a tool, but it was this heavy crack, and then the dispatcher said, "They're inside. They're moving through the house." I'm sitting in a dorm room 400 miles away, listening to strangers walk through my childhood home, and I suddenly don't recognize anything around me. I tried calling my dad. He lives there. No answer. Called again. Nothing. 3 more times. Straight to voicemail every single time. The dispatcher told me officers were heading upstairs, and I swear time just stopped working. My heartbeat was louder than her voice. I started praying, and I don't even pray. I was making deals with God, with the universe, with anything. Just let him be okay, and I'll do whatever you want. I'll be better. I'll come home more. Anything. Then something in the dispatcher's voice changed, just slightly. She said, "They've located him." I said, "Is he alive?" And there was this pause, the longest pause of my entire life. I could hear myself breathing and nothing else. She said, "He's breathing, ma'am. Paramedics are with him now." I lost it. I cried so hard I dropped my phone. I couldn't see, couldn't talk, couldn't do anything except sit on my floor and shake. And then it hits. You'd think "he's breathing" is where this finally lets you go, where the knot in your chest loosens. But OP doesn't land there. The relief is real, but it lasts about 3 seconds before something else takes over. Because breathing just means not dead. It doesn't mean not damaged. It doesn't mean he's coming back the same person. And she's 400 miles away on a dorm room floor with a dead phone screen, knowing that the worst part of tonight might not even be over yet. Over the next few hours, the details came in pieces, each one worse than the last. They found him seizing on his bedroom floor, empty pill bottles next to him, suspected overdose. He was transported to the ER, stomach pumped, stabilized but unconscious. I spent the rest of the night on the phone, first with the hospital, then my aunt, trying to get any scrap of information they would give me. I called my dad 11 times before he picked up at 6 a.m. All he said was, "Okay," and "I'll go to the hospital." That was it. No questions, no panic, just, "Okay." I wanted to reach through the phone and shake him. I was packing a bag at 5 a.m., not knowing if I should drive or wait. Then my aunt told me something the officers mentioned. There was a handwritten note beside him on the floor. They wouldn't tell her what it said. A note. He wrote a note. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Who it was for, what it said, whether my name was in it. I didn't book classes. I didn't tell anyone. I just got in a car I borrowed from my roommate and started driving. I pulled over twice on the highway to throw up. Not from anything I ate, just from the weight of it. The comments on this one really showed up. "ICU nurse here. The fact that he was seizing when they got there means they got there just in time. Minutes mattered. You saved his life by calling when you did. Thank you for saying that. The officer told me the same thing, that another 20 minutes and it would have been different." I keep replaying the moment I almost just texted him back, "You good?" and rolled over. I almost did that. I almost just went back to sleep. The part where you had to describe the hallway layout to the dispatcher so they could find him. I physically felt my stomach drop reading that. I'm so sorry. The text he sent you, the random disjointed one at 3 a.m., that was him reaching out. Even in that state, he reached for you. That matters. 4 days after the original post, OP came back with an update. I made it to the hospital and read the note. I confronted my dad. I got here Thursday night, drove straight from campus, 7 hours, stopped twice to be sick on the side of the road. My brother is alive. He's conscious. They put him on a 72-hour psychiatric hold that's since been extended. I've been staying at a motel 6 minutes from the facility. They let me see him for about 20 minutes. He cried, I cried. Neither of us really said much. I just held his hand, and he kept whispering, "Sorry," and I kept telling him to stop. Then the social worker handed me the note. It was addressed to me. Not our dad, not the world, just me. In it, he describes a conversation he says we had when I was around 10 and he was 7. He says I told him, "It happens to me too," referring to something our father was doing to him. I have zero memory of this conversation. None. I don't remember any abuse. I don't remember those words. I don't recognize the childhood he's describing. Either I blocked something out so completely it's gone, or he constructed a memory that never happened, and I don't know which possibility is worse. It felt like the ground shifted under a past I thought I understood. Everything she thought she knew about her own life just split in half. Reactions in the comments were heavy on this one. Not to be that person, but you need to secure that note. If what it implies is what I think it implies, that's evidence. Don't let your father anywhere near it. This. OP, please listen to this. I work in family law adjacent, and the number of times critical documents disappear from hospital rooms or family homes once the accused parent finds out is staggering. Photograph it. Send copies to someone you trust. Today. Trauma therapist here. Both repressed memory and confabulation under extreme distress are real, documented phenomena. Please do not try to resolve which one this is on your own. You need a professional who specializes in trauma and memory for both of you. Your father's silence when you confronted him is the loudest answer you'll ever get. And then she did what most people wouldn't have the nerve to do. I found my dad in the hospital parking lot. He was just standing by his car, not going in, not leaving. I walked up to him and asked him point blank what the note was about. What happened when we were kids? He looked at me, and I watched something close behind his eyes. He didn't deny it. He didn't explain. He didn't say a single word. He walked to his car, got in, and drove away. That was 4 days ago. No calls, no texts, nothing. I keep staring at my phone like he's going to reach out and say something that makes this make sense, but I don't think that call is coming. His silence broke something in me I didn't even know was load-bearing. Like I built my whole understanding of our family on a floor that just dropped out. My brother got moved to an inpatient facility yesterday. I'm still at the motel. I visit every day during allowed hours. I sit with him even when he doesn't want to talk. I don't know what's true yet. I don't know what I remember and what I blocked out and what never happened. But I know I'm not leaving. He's my brother. I'll figure out the rest from here. That's where the account goes dark. No more posts, no more comments, no more replies. Just silence. OP called 911 from 400 miles away on nothing but instinct and a broken text message. That call almost certainly saved her brother's life. But the real devastation wasn't the overdose. It was what surfaced after. The note, the confrontation. A father who said nothing and then disappeared. Some stories don't end with answers, and this is one of them. The silence from the father, the silence from the account. Sometimes that's all you get. I've been the sibling on the other end of a welfare check call. The guilt of putting someone through that haunts me more than whatever I was feeling that night. I hope your brother gets the help he needs. The next post comes from a completely different corner of Reddit, but it carries the same weight. My friend, 26 male, convinced me to take a farm job in rural Oregon. There is no farm. This one sat with me for a while. 6 days ago on r/Let's Not Meet, a user called Throwaway Greenfield dropped a post that reads like a horror movie pitch. Except it is not. OP is a 24-year-old guy who just lost his warehouse gig and is circling the drain financially. And then an old college friend reaches out with what sounds like a lifeline. I lost my warehouse job 3 weeks before any of this happened. Behind on rent, eating rice every night because that is what I could afford. I was not in a good place mentally, and I was not hiding it. I had posted about it online, which matters later. Then, out of nowhere, my college friend Derek, 26 male, texts me. We had not talked in months. He says he is working on a legal cannabis farm in southern Oregon. Trimming. Good money, cash daily, room and board included. I told him I did not know anything about that kind of work. He said it does not matter. They train you on site. He sent photos. Green hills, a farmhouse, rows of plants in the sun. It all looked legit. So I drove 6 hours south from Portland, watched my phone lose bars and stages. 4, 3, 2, 1, nothing. GPS died somewhere past a town I had never heard of. Found the dirt turnoff Derek described. No sign, no mailbox, just a gap in the trees. Derek met me at a metal gate. He looked thinner, different energy. Did not hug me, did not smile. Just said, "Give me your keys, we lock all vehicles up here, insurance thing." I handed them over. He walked me past tarps and makeshift shelters to a canvas teepee deep in the trees. No farm buildings, no license postings, no signal. I told myself it was just rough around the edges. That night I was on a sleeping bag on bare dirt when I heard footsteps outside the teepee. Then a sound I will never forget. The ratcheting click of zip ties being pulled tight around the flap. I was locked inside. And just like that, the silence hits. No signal, no keys, no way out. We are just getting started with this one. Now this is where OP's story starts to feel less like a bad decision and more like a trap that was already shut before he even showed up. Morning hits. The zip ties on the tent flap cut clean. And there is Derek, standing right outside, smiling like absolutely nothing happened. Like locking someone inside a canvas tent overnight is just standard procedure out here. OP is shaken, but he is still rationalizing. I told myself there had to be an explanation. Bears, security, whatever. But when Derek walked me to the grow site, I stopped making excuses. It was hidden under tree canopy netting, rows and rows of plants, nothing licensed about any of it. No signage, no permits, no paperwork on a single wall. There were 5 or 6 other guys already working, all men, all quiet. One had a bruise running across his cheekbone and wouldn't look at me. I asked Derek about my keys, about the zip ties. He just laughed. "Everyone's jumpy the first night, relax." Then I noticed nobody had a phone, not one. Derek said they collect them during work hours so nobody gets stupid and posts locations. Mine was dead anyway, no charger that fit anywhere on site. I started trimming. The work was real, but the vibe was all wrong. Nobody talked. At lunch, a guy named Marcus sat next to me and whispered, "How long did he tell you the job was?" I said 2 weeks. He just shook his head. That afternoon, I realized I had no idea where my car was parked. I asked Derek if I could grab something from it. He said tomorrow. The next day, I asked again. Tomorrow. By day 3, I stopped asking. Not because I forgot, because I understood. I wasn't a worker. I wasn't a guest. I had driven myself into a place with no witnesses, no signal, and nobody expecting me home. That line from Marcus hit different. He wasn't warning OP. He was confirming something OP already felt, but hadn't said out loud yet. 11 miles from pavement. No keys, no phone, no way out. And the worst part, not a single person back home knew where he was. That is the setup for everything that comes next. This is where the routine became the trap. Every day was the same. Wake up, zip ties get cut, walk to the rows, trim until your hands cramp, eat whatever slop someone cooked over the fire pit, back to the teepee, zip ties again. Derek started carrying a pistol on his hip like it was nothing, did not even try to hide it. There was another guy too, never got his name. He just sat up on the ridge watching us work. Never came down, never spoke, just watched. Marcus was the only one who would talk to me. 5 weeks he had been there. Was told too, same as me. Same story, friend of a friend, broke, no one checking on him. I asked him if anyone had ever left. He got quiet for a second, then said 2 guys tried to walk out before I got there. Went up the North Trail one morning. Derek told everyone they got a ride into town. Marcus said he never believed that for a second. I started mapping the property in my head. The dirt road in, the ridge line, the creek that ran south. 11 miles to pavement. No keys, no phone, no weapon. I thought about running at night, but the zip ties made that impossible. You cannot snap those things quietly. So I waited. Day 5, Derek says he is making a supply run into town. Marcus jumps in, volunteers to go. Right before they left, Marcus looked at me across the camp. Did not say a word out loud, just mouthed it. Be ready tonight. 2 words. That is all OP had to hold on to. The comments on this part hit different. The car keys thing is textbook. The second someone takes your transportation away in a remote area, you are not a guest. You are being held. Please tell me you have a lawyer. If there are bodies on that property and you were physically present, You need to protect yourself legally before anything else. This reads like forced labor trafficking. I really hope you've talked to someone beyond local police because rural departments are not always equipped for this. I filed with the county sheriff and also called the FBI tip line the next morning. The sheriff's office was honest that they knew about illegal grows in the area, but didn't have resources to raid them. The FBI actually followed up within 48 hours, which surprised me. I have a victim's advocate now. What kills me is I almost didn't call anyone because I kept thinking, but he's my friend. Maybe I'm overreacting. Even after the zip ties. That's how deep the denial was. OP went quiet after that. 3 weeks. No replies, no edits, nothing. People in the comments were starting to assume the worst. Then he came back with an update post. I got out, and what the other worker told me is worse than I thought. I'm writing this from a motel in Grants Pass. Marcus came back from the supply run with a prepaid phone he'd pocketed at a gas station. That night, he cut my zip ties with a box cutter he had hidden under his bedroll. We crept to the vehicle area and my car was right there, keys on a nail inside the shed. We put it in neutral and coasted downhill before I started the engine. Drove 11 miles of dirt road in the dark with headlights off. Hit pavement and went straight to a gas station and called 911. While we waited for the cops, Marcus told me the real reason he helped. Those 2 guys who left? He found a freshly turned patch of dirt near the north tree line the week before I arrived. Clothes half buried in it. He believes they were killed. Then he said something that broke me. Derek has been running this for over a year. He specifically finds guys who are broke, between jobs, distant from family. People nobody checks on for weeks. I went back through my messages and realized I posted on social media about losing my job and feeling hopeless. Derek hit me up the very next day. That was not a favor from a college buddy. That was a predator selecting a target. That last line sat with me, but the comment section took it even further. The part where your friend acted like nothing was wrong and introduced you to everyone with a smile. That's the scariest part to me. He rehearsed this. That's what predatory people do, though. The charm is the trap. If he'd been weird or nervous, OP would have bolted immediately. The fact that everything felt normal for the first few hours is exactly how these situations work. By the time the mask slips, you're already 11 miles from a road with no keys and no signal. I went to school with someone matching Derek's description. He dropped out junior year and went off the grid. At least 3 other guys from our graduating class got similar job offers. 2 of them haven't posted on social media since. You didn't get a job offer. You got a ransom note written in friendliness. So here is where everything came crashing down. Within 48 hours of that 911 call, police and the DEA raided the property. They confirmed everything. Thousands of plants, no license, funding traced to out-of-state sources. 3 other workers were recovered from the site. All of them recruited the same way I was. The man on the ridge fled, but was later arrested in Medford. But Derek was gone. His truck, gone. No trace of him anywhere. The investigation is still ongoing. They brought cadaver dogs to the north tree line, right where Marcus found that freshly turned earth. Law enforcement told me they found evidence consistent with human remains. They have not confirmed identities publicly. I have not slept right since any of this happened. I keep thinking about how Derek texted me a smiley face the morning I drove up there. How casual it all felt. How normal he made everything seem. The scariest part is not the zip ties. It is not the gun. It is that someone I trusted sat across from me in a dorm room for 2 years and was maybe already then learning how to read people for vulnerability. He saw me post about losing my job. He watched me fall apart online. And then he reached out like he was doing me a favor. That is what keeps me up at night. That is what I cannot get past. The response to this one hit different. Southern Oregon illegal grows are no joke. People absolutely go missing on those properties. You are lucky to be typing this right now. And this is what makes stories like this impossible to shake. People hear labor trafficking and they picture shipping containers in foreign countries. They do not picture your college buddy sending you a text about a job. The trap works because from the outside, it looks like a bad decision. He chose to go. He knew it was weed. Why would the cops care? That is exactly the point. The isolation is not just geographic, it is social. If you disappear while doing something illegal, who reports you missing? Nobody. And that is the design. That is the last story for today. If these got under your skin, make sure you are subscribed because there is more coming and you do not want to miss it.